So let's understand complex numbers. So before understanding complex numbers, let's see what are real and imaginary numbers. So in real numbers includes all the numbers we know, that are 1, 2, 3, minus 1, all the numbers present on the scale, like number line. So we have, in real numbers, we have the rational numbers, we have the irrational numbers. But there are some cases, like suppose we have an equation as x square plus 1 is equal to 0. So x square is equal to minus 1. So till now we couldn't solve this equation. As we know, the square of any number is positive. So even if you take minus 2, the square is 4, which is positive. But it turns out that you can solve this equation, and this is where the imaginary numbers come into existence. So square of what gives you minus 1? So conventionally it was taken as I square is equal to minus 1, which is I is equal to square root of minus 1. So this I is an imaginary number. So a whole new set of numbers were discovered. So we can view at some examples, that is we have 4i, then we have pi I, and then we have like 67.1i or anything like this. So this is a real number, and I is a imaginary number. So this altogether makes an imaginary number 4i. So considering an equation that is z is equal to x, any real number, plus iy or yi. So this is a real number, and this whole thing is an imaginary number. So a real number plus an imaginary number will give you a complex number. So z is a complex number. So let's try to view this in a graph. Suppose this is the y-axis and x-axis. On the y-axis you have the imaginary number, and on the x-axis you have the real number. So let's say we have 5 units from here and 3 units from here. So this point, which is 5 comma 3, is the complex number, which can be represented, that is this point can be represented as 5 plus 3i as a complex number. So let's say we have a graph representing the real and imaginary number, and this is x and this is z, the point of the complex number. So the distance between the origin and the z is r, and the angle between the x-axis and the r is taken as theta. So what's interesting is the formula for z complex number is equal to r and angle theta, r into angle theta. So this is the formula. The last formula we saw was z is equal to x plus iy. So we got two formulas in order to find out the complex number. So let's see how to find out x and y if we know the value of r, and how to find out r and theta if we know x and y. So we know that the value of x here, this distance, is equal to r cos theta, and y is equal to r sin theta. So this is how we can convert r, or we can find out the value of x and y. But in order to find out r, the value of r, we know that r square is equal to x square plus y square by applying the Pythagorean theorem in the triangle. Now in order to find out the value of theta, we know that tan theta is equal to opposite upon adjacent. So opposite is y and adjacent is x. So tan theta is equal to opposite, that is y upon x, and as we know, theta is equal to inverse of tan y upon x. So let's solve a question which is what is the absolute value of 6 plus 8i. So this point is 6 plus 8i and the distance of x is 6 and the distance of y is 8. So the absolute value represents at the length of r. So this length is the absolute value. So we know that r square is equal to x square plus y square. So by Pythagoras theorem. So we have the absolute value of 6 plus 8i is equal to square root of x square plus y square. So we know x is 6 square plus y is 8 square. So it is 36 plus 64, which is equal to square root of 100, which is 10. So let's solve the second sum. We need to simplify this equation, that is 10 minus 5 3s are 15i minus 16 24i, which is 10 minus 16 minus 15i minus 24i, which is minus 6 minus 39i. So the next sum is 5 plus 2i into 5 minus 2i. We could either multiply this in the normal way or use the formula, that is a square minus b square is equals to a plus b and a minus b. So which is 5 square minus 2i whole square, which is equal to 25 minus 4i square. So as we've seen, the value of I square is minus 1. So we have 25 minus 4 minus 1, which is 25 plus 4, which is equal to 29.